Why being busy is not the same as being productive. Modern life rewards busyness. People proudly say they are busy. Schedules are packed. Notifications never stop. There is always another email, another task, another obligation. From the outside, this looks productive. Movement creates the appearance of progress. But there is a problem. Many people are constantly busy while making very little meaningful progress. At the end of the day, they feel exhausted, but not fulfilled, occupied, but not effective. Welcome to 10-Minute Books, the channel where we break down the world's most powerful books into practical lessons you can apply in everyday life. Today, we explore a powerful idea reflected across 3 influential productivity books: Deep Work by Newport, Essentialism by McKeown, and Getting Things Done by David Allen. Why being busy is not the same as being productive. Newport argues that modern culture has confused activity with value. Many workplaces reward visible responsiveness, quick replies, constant availability, frequent meetings. These behaviors create the appearance of productivity, but appearance is not the same as output. Newport introduces the concept of deep work, focused, uninterrupted concentration on cognitively demanding tasks. This kind of work creates real value. It leads to mastery, creativity, and meaningful progress. But deep work requires something modern life constantly interrupts: attention. And attention has become fragmented. People switch between tasks constantly: emails, messages, notifications, social media. Each interruption seems small, but together they destroy focus. The brain never fully settles into concentration. As a result, people stay busy while accomplishing shallow work. McKeown approaches the problem differently. In Essentialism, he argues that many people suffer from overcommitment. They say yes too often. Too many projects, too many obligations, too many priorities. But when everything becomes important, nothing receives full attention. McKeown emphasizes a simple principle: less but better. Productivity is not about doing more things. It is about doing the right things well. This requires elimination. Not every task deserves your energy. Not every opportunity deserves your attention. Real productivity involves choosing carefully. David Allen focuses on mental clarity. In Getting Things Done, he explains that many people feel overwhelmed because their minds are overloaded. Tasks remain unfinished. Decisions remain unresolved. Mental clutter accumulates. This creates stress, not because there is too much work, but because attention becomes fragmented. Allen argues that the mind is good at having ideas, not storing them. External systems reduce mental noise. Clarity improves execution. Together, these 3 books reveal a powerful insight. Busyness often creates the illusion of productivity while reducing meaningful output. The first principle is focus. Attention is limited. Every task consumes cognitive energy. When attention is divided constantly, quality decreases. Newport emphasizes that concentration is becoming increasingly rare, and therefore increasingly valuable. The ability to focus deeply for sustained periods creates disproportionate results. But deep focus requires intentional protection. Without boundaries, distractions multiply endlessly. The second principle is prioritization. McKeown argues that productivity begins with deciding what matters most. Not everything deserves equal effort. Some activities create significant impact. Others create only noise. Busy people often confuse motion with progress. They complete many small tasks while avoiding meaningful work. Real productivity requires identifying high-value activities and protecting time for them. The third principle is elimination. Most productivity advice focuses on adding more systems, more routines, more optimization, more techniques. But McKeown emphasizes subtraction. What can be removed? What can be ignored? What is unnecessary? Elimination creates space, and space allows concentration. The fourth principle is attention residue. Newport explains that switching tasks leaves traces of attention behind. Part of your mind remains focused on the previous activity. This reduces performance on the next task. Constant multitasking creates shallow thinking. People feel productive because they are active, but cognitively, efficiency declines. Single task focus often produces more meaningful results in less time. The fifth principle is clarity. Allen argues that unclear commitments create mental stress. Unfinished tasks remain psychologically active. This drains attention. Writing tasks down, organizing priorities, clarifying next actions. These reduce cognitive overload. Clarity increases execution because confusion decreases resistance. The sixth principle is intentionality. Busy people often react constantly, responding to incoming demands, messages, requests, notifications. This creates reactive living. Productive people act intentionally. They decide what deserves attention. Instead of allowing external inputs to control focus, intentionality creates direction. The seventh principle is depth. Shallow tasks feel satisfying because they create quick completion. Replying to emails, checking notifications, minor administrative work. These create movement, but often little long-term value. Deep work feels harder because it requires sustained concentration. But depth creates results that shallow activity cannot. Skill development, creative output, meaningful progress. The eighth principle is energy management. Productivity is not only about time, it is about mental energy. Not all hours are equal. Deep thinking requires cognitive freshness. Busy schedules often destroy this. Constant context switching drains energy. Protecting energy becomes essential. This means rest matters. Recovery matters. Space matters. The ninth principle is boundaries. Without boundaries, busyness expands endlessly. Technology creates constant accessibility. People become available all the time, but constant availability reduces depth. Boundaries protect concentration. Time without interruption. Time without input. Time without reaction. This is increasingly rare and increasingly valuable. The 10th principle is meaning. There is also a deeper psychological problem. Busyness often becomes identity. People feel important because they are occupied. Stillness becomes uncomfortable. Silence feels unproductive. But productivity without meaning creates emptiness. McKeown argues that essential living requires alignment, doing what matters most, not simply doing more. There is also a modern cultural issue. Many environments reward visible busyness. Fast replies appear productive. Packed schedules appear ambitious. Exhaustion appears successful. But visible effort is not always meaningful contribution. This creates performative productivity. People optimize appearances instead of outcomes. Newport warns that shallow busyness often crowds out meaningful work entirely. Another important insight is that busyness reduces reflection. Constant activity leaves little space for thinking, but thinking is essential for direction. Without reflection, people continue patterns automatically. More activity, more reaction, more noise, less clarity. This creates a cycle. Busyness produces exhaustion. Exhaustion reduces clarity. Reduced clarity increases reactive behavior. And reactive behavior increases busyness. Breaking this cycle requires intentional slowing down, not laziness, but strategic focus. Allen emphasizes that productivity should reduce stress, not increase it. The goal is not constant activity. The goal is trusted execution, knowing what matters, knowing what to ignore, and moving through tasks with clarity instead of chaos. There is also the role of boredom. Modern environments eliminate boredom constantly. Phones fill every empty moment. But boredom once created reflection, creativity, insight. Deep thinking often emerges from uninterrupted space. Constant stimulation prevents this. Productive people protect empty space intentionally, because creativity requires mental breathing room. Over time, the distinction becomes obvious. Busy people react constantly. Productive people prioritize intentionally. Busy people focus on quantity. Productive people focus on impact. Busy people fill every moment. Productive people protect attention. And this may be the most important difference of all. Busyness often feels urgent. Productivity feels deliberate. One creates exhaustion. The other creates progress. The question then becomes, are you truly productive? Or simply constantly occupied? Because movement alone is not enough. Direction matters. Focus matters. Depth matters. That was why being busy is not the same as being productive, explored through deep work, essentialism, and getting things done. Which idea resonated most with you? Focus, elimination, or clarity? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe to 10-Minute Books, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next deep dive into powerful ideas. Because real productivity is not about doing more. It is about doing what matters most.